that right now the economy is great. Diesel prices are super cheap. Work is everywhere. There's a little building boom happening again down here in Southwest Florida. Cost of loaning money, super cheap. Interest rates down, really low. Lots of American consumers. However, we haven't fixed, as a country, we haven't fixed our economic issues from 2008. We just put a band-aid on it, printed a bunch of money. That's called QE1, QE2, QE4, all that shit. It basically is fancy word for we printed money and put it into circulation. So your dollar in the future, mathematically, will be worth less because there's more dollars, which means inflation. So when there's inflation, this is typically pretty bad. You always want a little bit of inflation, but if you get inflation and then you get unemployment, which are supposed to be the opposites of each other. Most of the time you get inflation, but you get full employment. So home prices are going up, but everyone's got a job. Carter years, you have home prices going up, interest rates going up, oil going up, and unemployment. That is a clusterfuck, because if that happens, you could end up in a serious depression or in a very, very serious issue, state as a country. Right now, October 2015, everything's freaking great, right? Everything's awesome. And that worries me because that's not normal. And we're seeing a lot of that cheap money in circulation, etc., etc. My concern with these Bobcats and my concern with all of my equipment purchases is I want to be ready for the downturn. I want to be ready for war. I want to go out and I want to kick ass when everyone else is hurting, because that is how you build big companies. That is how you build kick-ass companies. If there's a recession or a depression in the next few years, I am excited. I am hoping that happens. Now, it sounds weird because you're like, why would you want that to happen? Well, as long as I can hedge my risks, and going into that I wasn't caught blindsided by it, it's totally awesome, because theoretically my competitors will not be ready for it and they won't know what to do. I've built my entire business model around kicking ass in a recession or depression. Part of that plan is not being caught in a bad economy with a bad machine that is down, that is broken, and not paid off. That is a sinking ship. It will sink you. You do not want that. You can be in a bad economy. If your machine is paid off and it's working, you can kick ass. But if those factors are not together, then and the deck of cards get stacked against you. So you weren't able to pay off everything before a recession came. Your machinery ended up breaking on you after a 2,000, 3,000 hour mark, and now you're in a recession. You just are stacking bad factors on top of bad factors on top of bad factors. Storms will come. I'm totally cool with storms coming. I want to be the guy that has full fuel in the tank and has his life preservers on. Alright, that's all I'm saying. I get excited about storms. That's how you freaking kill it. That's how Forrest Gump killed it. Like, you gotta ride those storms out. You gotta be ready to ride those storms. And because I think I have an opinion, an assumption, a sneaking suspicion that there's a depression on the horizon, and I want to be ready for it, and I want to kick ass. Now, worst case scenario or best case scenario, there's no depression, everything's great for 10 years, and screw it, Travis prepped for no reason. But I don't want to be caught in a bad machine that's not paid off in a bad economy. Now, I can't control the economy, so I don't really worry about the economy. I don't worry about when it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen in the next year. I know that this year is looking pretty stout right now. There's an election. Normally, nothing's really going to get screwed up. War could screw that up, but right now, as a country, we're trying to keep shit good, right? Congress is trying to keep shit good. Federal Reserve trying to keep shit good. Big business, Wall Street. We don't want more regulation. We don't want politicians talking about that. So everyone's just kind of keeping it good, right? Typically after elections, or when things are kind of decided towards the end of the election, you start to see things coming together. Obviously, we printed a ton of money, like I said before. That's going to cause inflation. Also, I like leveraging machines right now, using debt to buy machines, because they're giving us 0% interest, 1% interest, bullshit interest rates. and I'm paying them back with cheaper money every year. So it decreases the cost of buying those machines. Why would I go and give you $50,000 of my cash to buy that machine when you will give me your $50,000 and I can pay you back at 1% interest? I'm glad to do that. As long as, as long as I'm not paying $50,000 for a $40,000 machine, you're sneaking in that interest rate. I always negotiate the price on the machine first, and then I talk about how I'm going to finance it. I don't walk in there and talk about how I'm going to finance it, and then they talk about monthly payments. Nah, I talk about what the price of the machine is, then we'll talk about whether I'm going to pay cash, use a third party to finance it, or use your dealership to finance it. So, can't control the economy, don't worry about it. Not in our deck of cards. Can control the machines we're buying. Hard to pick the best machines sometimes because you don't really know. Now, I do know that I want to be buying proven machines right now, like the Dodge Cummins or the Ram Cummins now. I want to buy that because it's a proven engine and I know that it'll ride. Probably on my next skid steers, I'm going to buy a skid steer that's not a new model, right? Doesn't have a new Doosan engine in it. Doesn't have, I want the same shit you've been making for 8 years and it works just fine because I have a negative future economic outlook. I don't have a positive one, and I want to control my risks. I don't want to be caught in a bad economy with a bad machine and not have that machine paid off. Another thing I can control, paying that machine off. I'm making every effort to pay these machines off early, ahead of time. So if we get caught in a bad economy and the machine is not a good product, but we thought it was, as long as it's paid off, it's a saving grace. Because one, I can use it to, I can sell it off if I don't need it, and I can use it as a source of cash. Two, I can put it down on a new machine and get in a new warranty. So I can buy machinery when no one else is buying machinery. I'll get a good deal on that machinery, and I'll be able to have a brand new warranty at the beginning of a recession or depression, which will hedge my bets the first day of a new depression. So I can just go to Caterpillar, trade in my Bobcats, get a new Caterpillar. I know the thing's gonna be freaking stout, have a pretty low payment because I'm putting $30,000, let's say the machine's worth $30,000 at that point, down on a new $60,000 machine, have little baby payments and a brand new warranty, no downtime. I'm good to go. Caterpillar has an awesome deal. They give you free rentals if it goes down. Freaking great. So we want to control factors that we can control. We don't want to worry about factors that we don't want to work that we can't control. But we want to be mindful of things like the economy, and we want to just realize when times are good that eventually times will be bad, and we want to be prepped for that. We want to be ready for that. So think about that when you're making your financial decisions. Think about that as you're designing your business and trying to figure out what direction you're going in. So, some food for thought, stuff to think about, and stay away from Bobcat for the moment. Don't buy yourself a new Bobcat. Stick with the Kubota, the Kubota Caterpillar stuff, but for the moment, I wouldn't recommend any Bobcats. Talk to you later.